My name is Dylan Mulvaney. I am a trans woman, and I am documenting my transition publicly on TikTok for the world to see.
Mr. President, this is my 221st day of publicly transitioning.
God love you.
This is Dylan Mulvaney, a trans TikToker. And this is Joe Biden, the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world. And before we talk more about what in the world is happening here, let's look a little more at what Dylan and President Biden talked about.
I am extremely privileged to live in a state that allows me access to the resources I need, and that decision is just between me and my doctors. But many states have lawmakers that feel like they can involve themselves in this very personal process. Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming health care?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that, as a moral question and as a legal question. I just think it's wrong. I mean, no state should be able to do that, in my view. So I feel very, very strongly that that you should have every single solitary right, including use of your gender identity bathrooms in public.
Thank you. Thank you.
Notice that President Biden is 100% on board with and supportive of every single issue that Dylan brings up. Biden is putting himself squarely on the side of gender-affirming health care, which could, arguably, more accurately be called child mutilation. Whatever the trans rights activists want, Biden wants to give it to them. Let's keep watching.
And it feels like Republicans have turned trans and non-binary people into this thing to blame society's downfall on in some ways. And this narrative is not only dangerous to our mental health, but also our physical safety. And particularly trans women of color are being murdered at an alarming rate.
More than any other group of people.
Thank you.
And here, Dylan and Biden join together in attacking Republicans for simply wanting to defend the definitions of male, female, and marriage, and wanting to protect underage children from life-altering surgeries. And they both cite a particular statistic that is extremely dishonest.
The stuff about the trans murder rate, how trans people are murdered more than anyone else, an alarming rate, there's an epidemic of anti-trans murders. All of that is it's a flat-out lie. They're making it up. All they do is make stuff up. And what they do is they report the total number of trans people who were supposedly murdered, the total number, all of them, every single murder, and they insinuate or outright claim that they were all killed, every single one of them, in anti-trans hate crimes.
And I think that it's really important that we continue to speak out about the basic fundamental rights of all human beings. And the idea that what's going on, in some states, I won't get into the politics of it, but in some states, it's outrageous. And I think it's immoral. The trans part's not immoral. What they're trying to do to trans persons is immoral.
Again, notice that President Biden is 100% on the same page as Dylan, and that there is absolutely nothing being proposed by the most radical transgender activist that Biden ever disagrees with or pushes back against.
So things are changing. Things are changing, but it's a matter of us acknowledging that there's nothing to be, just because it's different, there's nothing to be fearful about.
And there we have it. These are the kind of interviews President Biden chooses to do, and this is the kind of person President Biden chooses to be interviewed by. Now, who exactly is this Dylan Mulvaney? What makes him so significant that he was given the opportunity to interview the President of the United States? Well, Dylan was recently featured on an Ulta Beauty podcast to discuss femininity.
Now I know I can find love. I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day, and I absolutely can. And that's why the narrative still has a long way to go, because when I was grieving boy Dylan, I didn't know those things were even accessible to me.
Remember, Dylan is a biological man who identifies as a woman, and Dylan created a TikTok series called Days of Girlhood.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send. I ordered dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't fine.
So Dylan identifies not even as a woman, but as a girl. And he's not even really identifying as a girl, but rather as a cartoonish, insulting caricature of a girl.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature.
Trees? I love them. Water? Lakes? I love them. Heels? They're my hiking heels. I love them. Okay, come on. Bridges? Love them. Coconut water? Love it. Not nad, just love it. Wind turbine? Love it. Meadows? Love them. I'm scared of getting Lyme disease.
Is there anything more ridiculous than Dylan's conception of a girl here? Well, a strong contender would be the President of the United States watching and being a fan of Dylan's Days of Girlhood series.
Leaving on cloud 9.
The President of the United States gave me a cookie. He gave me a cookie in the Oval Office. Now here's the question. Do I eat it or do I save it? It has a seal. Please, honestly, tell me. Everyone, I got to pet the dog. I got to pet his dog. I'm still in shock, and don't be mad, but I don't get to post any of the footage until after the interview airs on Sunday night, but it's going to be worth it because I can't wait for you to hear everything that we talked about. I left with a lot of hope and optimism, not only for just trans people, but many different topics, and the fact that our president has watched Days of Girlhood, it's kind of epic.
Now, this would all be pretty humorous if it wasn't so frightening. Here we have the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, bowing down to the most radical wing of the LGBTQ movement and vowing to fight to give the most extreme transgender activists every single thing they want politically. What's frightening is just how quickly a fringe minority has essentially taken over the White House and the most powerful politicians in the United States.
And there was a time when we didn't have the idea crammed down our throat that we don't know what a woman is or what a man is, or that it's somehow wrong and offensive to have, a gender reveal for a baby. Why is it wrong or offensive? Because if you are revealing that your baby in the womb is a boy or a girl, you're robbing them of their right and opportunity to tell you, I would say 15 years from now, but now it's like not even 6 or 7 years from now, what they actually are. That's the world that we're living in, and it has tremendous consequences.
This is the world we now live in, where someone as ridiculous as Dylan Mulvaney can completely control the policy decisions of the President of the United States.
Thank you so much for watching into the end. If you'd like this video, hitting the subscribe button helps this channel reach more people with the truth. Thank you so much for your support and encouragement.